Hi, I'm Alex Iszatt and you're watching Executive TV. Have you ever stopped to think about how much travel shapes our everyday lives? From commuting to work and school, to visiting family and friends, to taking holidays and exploring new places, transportation is one of the things that keeps modern society moving. It connects people to opportunity, it supports businesses and economies, it allows communities to function. And for many of us, traveling from one place to another is something we hardly think twice about. But behind this convenience lies a major environmental challenge. The way we travel has a significant impact on the planet. Globally, transportation is one of the largest contributors to carbon emissions, making it one of the biggest challenges in the fight against climate change. As countries work towards ambitious net zero targets and seek to build a more sustainable future, one question is becoming increasingly urgent. How can we continue moving forward without costing the Earth? Today, we're exploring the environmental impact of travel, the solutions being developed to reduce transport emissions, and what the future of sustainable travel could look like in the UK and beyond. Transportation is deeply woven into modern life, whether by car, train, bus, plane, bicycle, or simply walking. Mobility is essential. But much of the transport systems we rely on today were built around fossil fuels. Petrol, diesel, and aviation fuel have powered economic growth for decades. The problem is that burning these fuels releases greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide, into the atmosphere. These emissions trap heat, contribute to global warming, and accelerate climate change. Globally, the transport sector accounts for around a quarter of all energy-related carbon dioxide emissions. That's a huge proportion, and much of this comes from road vehicles. Cars, vans, and lorries dominate transport emissions because of the sheer number of journeys made every day. In the UK, the picture is particularly striking. Domestic transport is the largest single contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. In recent years, it's accounted for more than a quarter of the country's total emissions. Cars and vans are responsible for the majority of this. While aviation and rail also contribute, road transport remains the biggest challenge. This means that if the UK is serious about reaching net zero, transforming the way we travel is not optional, it's essential. And one of the most talked about solutions to this challenge is the rise of electric vehicles. Electric vehicles, often referred to as EVs, have rapidly moved from being a niche technology to becoming a central part of the conversation around sustainable transport. Unlike traditional petrol and diesel vehicles, electric vehicles produce no exhaust emissions while being driven. This means no direct carbon dioxide emissions from the vehicle itself. It also means cleaner air, particularly in urban areas where traffic congestion contributes heavily to air pollution. For cities struggling with poor air quality, this is a major advantage. The UK government has recognised the importance of electric vehicles and has introduced a range of measures to encourage their adoption. One of the most significant is the planned ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars by 2030. This is a major milestone designed to accelerate the transition toward cleaner transport. In addition to this, grants for electric vehicle purchases, investment in public charging infrastructure, and tax incentives have all helped increase uptake. And the results are already visible. Electric vehicles now account for a growing share of new car sales in the UK. What once seemed like futuristic technology is quickly becoming part of everyday life. Charging stations are appearing in supermarket car parks, service stations, workplaces, and residential areas. Electric vehicles are becoming increasingly mainstream. But while they represent significant progress, they're not without challenges. One of the biggest concerns lies in battery production. Electric vehicle batteries require large amounts of materials such as lithium, cobalt, and nickel. Extracting these materials can have serious environmental consequences, including habitat destruction, water use concerns, and pollution. There are also ethical concerns surrounding labour practices in some mining regions. This means that while electric vehicles reduce emissions during use, the overall sustainability depends heavily on how batteries are sourced, manufactured, and eventually recycled. The future of electric vehicles will depend not just on adoption, but on innovation. Developing greener battery technologies, improving recycling systems, and reducing reliance on scarce materials will all be crucial. Electric vehicles are an important part of the solution, but they're not the whole solution. In fact, one of the most effective ways to reduce transport emissions is something many people already use every day: public transport. Buses, trains, and trams offer enormous potential for reducing emissions because they move large numbers of people far more effectively and efficiently than individual cars. A single full bus can remove dozens of vehicles from the road. A well-used train can transport hundreds of passengers using far less energy per person than private vehicles. Rail travel is particularly efficient. Electrified railways, when powered by renewable energy, can offer some of the lowest emission forms of transport available. This makes rail a key part of any sustainable transport strategy. Yet, despite these advantages, public transport in the UK faces significant challenges. For many people, it's simply not the easiest or most affordable option. Train fares in the UK are among the highest in Europe. Bus services in many regions have been reduced due to funding pressures. Rural communities often face limited coverage, making car travel the only realistic option. Service reliability can also be an issue. Delayed trains, cancelled routes, and inconsistent timetables can discourage people from choosing public transport. And these barriers matter because no matter how environmentally friendly public transport is, people are unlikely to use it if it's expensive, inconvenient, or unreliable. The government has introduced measures aimed at improving this, subsidising bus fares in some areas and investment in rail infrastructure projects are all steps in the right direction. But many experts argue that far more needs to be done. Making public transport affordable, accessible, and dependable is essential if it's to become a genuine alternative to private car use. Another important piece of the sustainable travel puzzle is active travel. Walking and cycling are among the cleanest forms of transport available. They produce no emissions, they reduce traffic congestion, and they offer significant health benefits. Regular walking and cycling can improve physical fitness, reduce stress, and lower the risk of many health conditions. This makes active travel unique. It benefits both the planet and the individual. Recognising this, the UK government introduced the Gear Change strategy, which aims to increase walking and cycling rates through investment in cycling infrastructure and pedestrian-friendly design. Dedicated cycle lanes, safer crossings, and improved urban planning can make a huge difference. But progress has been uneven. In many towns and cities, infrastructure still prioritises cars. Road layouts can make cycling feel unsafe. Poorly connected paths often discourage walking. This highlights an important truth. Sustainable travel isn't just about changing vehicles, it's about changing environments. If cities are designed primarily for cars, green alternatives will always struggle. Creating walkable, cycle-friendly communities is essential for long-term change. Then there's aviation. Flying has transformed global connectivity. It has made international travel faster and more accessible than ever before. But it also presents one of the toughest challenges in sustainable transport. Although aviation accounts for a relatively small percentage of global emissions compared to road transport, its impact is amplified because emissions released at high altitudes contribute additional warming effects. Aviation is also one of the fastest growing sources of emissions. Unlike road vehicles, where electric alternatives are already becoming practical, developing low-emission aircraft is far more difficult. But there are promising developments. Sustainable aviation fuels could significantly reduce life cycle emissions. Engine designs are becoming more efficient. Researchers are exploring electric and hydrogen-powered aircraft. But these technologies are still in their early stages. They're unlikely to transform mainstream aviation in the immediate future. In the short term, one practical solution is encouraging rail travel for domestic journeys, where feasible. For many routes within the UK, trains can offer a low-emission alternative to flying. The broader challenge facing sustainable travel is balancing environmental responsibility with convenience. People want travel that's fast, affordable, flexible, and reliable. If sustainable options fail to meet these expectations, adoption will remain limited. This is why infrastructure investment is so important. Charging networks must continue expanding. Public transport must become more affordable. Cycling and walking routes must be made safer and more accessible. Technology alone isn't enough. Systems supporting that technology must evolve too. Public attitudes also play a role. For many years, private car ownership has been associated with freedom and convenience. Changing this mindset requires not just better alternatives, but cultural change. People need to see sustainable travel as practical, attractive, and beneficial. And the good news is that progress is already happening. Electric vehicle adoption is growing. Cities are investing in cleaner transport systems. Cycling infrastructure is improving. Awareness of transport-related emissions is increasing. The conversation around sustainable travel has shifted dramatically in recent years. What was once considered an environmental niche issue is now a central national priority. Looking ahead, the future of travel is likely to be more diverse, more connected, and more sustainable. Electric cars, integrated public transport systems, smarter urban planning, low carbon fuels, and new mobility technologies will all play a role. No single solution will solve the challenge alone. Instead, sustainable travel will require a combination of innovation, policy, investment, and public participation. Ultimately, the goal is not to stop people from traveling. Travel is too important for that. The goal is to make travel cleaner, smarter, and more sustainable, to create transport systems that support both modern life and environmental responsibility. Because the choices we make about how we move today will shape the world we live in tomorrow. And if we get it right, the future of travel can be one that keeps us connected while protecting the planet we all share. I've been your host, Alex Iszatt, and thanks for tuning in to Executive TV. Until next time.